Hi again, my name is Rebel and I'm the Rebel Reseller, and today we're going to be doing a what sold video for last week, Monday through Thursday, which was July 14th through the 17th, and my sales were very down, but we were on vacation, so I had extended handling. People just don't buy, I think, when they see that it's not going to be shipped for a set amount of time, if they notice.
You had 6 people cancel their orders.
I had 6 cancellations just because I wasn't shipping, one day. We are going to be doing another sourcing trip, hitting some Goodwill outlets, binses that we've not gone to before. The first ones we've been, but the second ones we've not. And then in this journey, we're going to be stopping in New York to see my grandsons and my son and daughter-in-law. But my grandsons for the weekend. And then so we're going to be going up through West Virginia and Pittsburgh, hitting the bins there, which we've been to those before. But when we leave New York, we're going to come down and shoot through Ohio and hit 2 or 3 of them. But it's going to be a short sourcing trip. But I'm looking forward to it. This has always been the plan for this year, was more traveling. And I love to source at the outlets. So to me, that's a fun vacation. It really is. So that's the plan. But it has also bumped back our first Whatnot show. I think we're going to wait till we get back. And then maybe I don't know if it'll be the Sunday after we get back, but probably the following Sunday.
We'll try to get it done the Sunday we get back.
That's true, because we plan on coming back probably Tuesday, Wednesday, somewhere in there. So yeah, that'll give us plenty of time. I've already got piles. These are all of those large Walmart boxes that are already starting to overflow. So I've got piles ready. We just need to find the time. Anything else we want to throw out there before I get started?
Yes, we're going to be doing our live Monday.
Yes, on the other channel.
On the other channel. We'll have a link here. And probably we'll do one Monday, then we'll have skip the Monday we're out of town, and then we'll be back for the one after that.
Yes.
And when we do that, give us feedback. Let us know what you think. What can we do to improve it?
Yep. It's just going to be us working and answering your questions. When things come up, I'll be able to show you live how to deal with it. Like, I had somebody who needed help with figuring out why their custom SKU wasn't showing up on their listing pages. And so I was able to do that yesterday for them, show them how to get it there. So things like that. Just come up with your questions. We'll both be here. I think Robert's going to be doing shipping. So it'll be kind of a live ship with me. And then I'll be probably processing stuff if I'm not helping him, depending on how much we have. So I'm looking forward to it, to see, if this works better for that channel than what we've not been doing.
We have a lot to get done before we leave, because this video is going to go out tonight, July 25th, and then tomorrow we're going to have another haul video to go out, which will officially catch us up for what we didn't get put out while we were gone, because somebody forgot. Which means that in the next 6 days I have 9 videos to get ready to go, and it's going to be a very busy week.
Yes.
And on top of all the other stuff that normally goes on around here.
All right, let me go ahead. This is a short video. I didn't sell a whole lot. It was pretty pitiful. First thing was these Lucky brand skinny women's jeans. These are old. These were from probably the second year we started selling clothes. So right now, anything that's 2212, and especially 2212 in my custom SKU, which is anything that was listed before January of 2023, anything is better than what's going to happen at the end of the year. I'm going to be getting rid of all of those listings. So right now, I'm good with, taking a $10 offer on jeans that have been listed at least 3 years. Dakin Penguin Plush from 1977 sold for $13.45. I love Dakin. All right, this is one of the like homemade doll dresses that came in the Terry Lee doll lot that I picked up. I picked a few of the dresses and then I just kind of enlisted them, and then I just kind of got bored with the rest of them. They needed repairs and that type of stuff. But I sold the rest of the dresses, I think, for like $100. So I made tons of money, but I may have one or two more lots of dresses that I listed before I sold off the rest. But this dress sold for $17.95. This is one of those. I took down all of my individual listings for this CTC Pasta Express Maker, and I made one lot, and lo and behold, it sold almost immediately. Yeah, like 2 days later. For the whole lot of these dies and discs and other pieces and parts to a pasta maker, sold for $26.95. I used to do really, really well with them. Not so much anymore, so it's not something we will pick up again. Wear It, Declare It camo capri pants, sold for $10. Ortho Feet black mules shoes. We just picked these up, I think, at the bins. I want to say it was a bins pickup. They sold in about 2 months for $31.50. Ray Dunn magenta. These were melamine bowls. One set, no, they both say roast. I had another set that said something else on them. These sold for $10.76. Free People. I've learned not all Free People sells well. This took 2 years to sell, and I took a best offer of $12.40 for these distressed jeans. This is one of those times where I got a $40 offer on a $60 listing, and I talk about this quite often. I go back and I look, instead of just saying, oh, no, that's just a lowball offer, go back and look at the comps. Things change, and things can change in a relatively, short amount of time. This was listed 4 months. And when I went back and looked, there were some that were selling in the 20s and 30s. So a $40 offer on this Cloud Island Lovey ended up being a really good deal. So I took the offer for $40. Express Editor women's black flared trousers sold for $18. Skippy John Jones. Yeah, several of you reminded me of his name. I don't think there were any other clip-on minis listed, so I just kind of picked a price and sold probably in like 4 days on an offer for $9 for a little 5-inch plush. Hasbro PJ Masks figures sold for $12.10. Levi's women's boot cut jeans sold for $15.01. Sold quite a bit of clothes that 4-day period. All right, this brand is Herring Teddy Bear. It was a Hard Rock Cafe bear plush. And I think, yeah, it says somewhere on there, Cabo San Lucas. Been listed since the beginning of 2024, but ended up selling at my sale price of $35.95. I've picked up a couple of things that were that Herring Teddy Bear brand, and they tend to be higher dollar, but with bears, usually it does take a while to sell. Kelly Toy Lovey was a lion. Sold for $11.66. Conesco Vintage Raccoon Plush sold for $12.97. A listing from 2023, so glad to see it moving. Fisher Price Record Your World of Sounds Dr. Seuss cassette. I think this was a Ben's pickup. It may have been from an estate sale. But this was the second one, and they both have sold, I believe. This one sold for $8.96. Herman is another really high quality teddy bear brand. This one was made in West Germany. 16-inch, and it sold for $35.95. Aurora Baby Fawn Plush. This is a bigger one than the little smalls that I like picking up. This one was from 2018. Sold for bread and butter, $8.96. Earth Origins is just one of those shoe brands we like to pick up. We usually can get them for like $1 at yard sales. These Clarks, I think there's a couple of others that are just kind of comfort shoes, but they tend to sell pretty good for us. This one was actually, though, an older listing, and it sold for $15. Levi's 517 men's corduroy pants sold for $23.21. Another old listing. Mattel Thomas the Train die-cast lots. These are just the small ones. And again, another old listing sold for $12. I had somebody make a comment in one of my recent videos that I'm selling my stuff too cheap. But, you know, I've mentioned this before. First and foremost, I don't do free shipping. So when I say it's sold for $18, you know, the buyers paid that extra. So I'm not losing money additional for shipping. But also, a lot of these are my old listings. They have had plenty of time to sell at the prices that I had them listed. And obviously, they weren't making the cut as far as the algorithm and searches. It's just time to make them gone. So at this point, you know, I am selling a lot of stuff for $4, $5, and $6, just to make them gone, because otherwise they're going to be nothing at the end of the year, because I'm just going to donate. These were Sesame Street Learn to Lace little toys. You know, these are good in like preschools, special ed classes, you know, just for hand-eye coordination. These sold for an offer of $18. First in Maine, his name is Regis Bear, sold for $13.45. I love seeing the bears go, because I truly have too many bears. That's what's going to be a majority of the stuff at the end of the year that gets donated. Pillow Fort Skunk Hand Puppet sold for $8. Baby Gap Zebra Beans Plush. I like finding Baby Gap. This one was listed back in January, so not a long time online, but it did end up selling for $14. Born Bach knee-high boots sold for $45. Kenner Vintage Care Bears Cousins. This is Gentle Heart Lamb from 1984. Sold for $22.45. The Care Bear Cousins tend to do better than the Care Bears, except with a few exceptions. There's some really rare ones, and like the grandmother does quite well if you have the shawl. But I think that was a really good price for just one of the lambs.
I'd like to, since you're bringing that up, I'd like to point out that Terry stepped up in my defense and said that the sidekicks are more valuable than the main characters.
And I have said that in the past, right?
Yes, you have. So I just wanted to point that out, because I appreciate her coming to my rescue there.
That was funny. Tonka Pound Purry's Black Cat. It's one of the, not the really long one, but not the small ones either. It sold for $15. I think its saving grace was a lot of times the little bow that's around its neck has hook and loop, as we are supposed to say, and a lot of times those are missing. Old Navy women's denim shorts sold for $13.21. Manhattan Toy. This is like one of my first dolls in that brand. Her name is Stella. Sold for $14.36. And Peanuts Snoopy Canteen was from the large lot that we picked up last year. I don't have a whole lot left. A couple of totes. But this one sold for $9. I also didn't have any Etsy sales. I'm not sure if I mentioned that at the beginning, because we were on vacation. And with Etsy in vacation mode, you can't sell anything. On the other store, we sold these Talbot's pedal pusher jeans for $21. So that store got its first return too this week. So blah, blah. But, you know, it's going to happen. It's primarily clothes and shoes. So I think it's going to take, you know, the brunt of the returns once I finish selling off everything in the other store. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys' sales are doing better than mine. It's just been kind of slow. And, you know, I hate to attribute it solely to the summer slowdown because I don't normally experience summer slowdown. Not like I have this year. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm going to keep doing my thing, keep listing, but, you know, always ready to pivot like I am going to be with Whatnot. All right, y'all. It's time to get to work. Bye.